Straight all day.
You are now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together, to a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. Yes, we're going to go there and we're going to come back. We're going to talk about it all here today. Before we get into this, let me, as I always do, remind everybody or inform those of you who are to the uninitiated. I have a daily motivation text message. I send it out for free. Yes, free. Every single day to everyone who is in my texting community. And I'm going to tell you how to get into that texting community right now. All you got to do is send me a text at my number. Here's the number, 305-384-6894. Every day when I send out that daily motivation text. And by the way, that message is guaranteed to keep you focused, sharp, and on point, or your money back. So all you got to do is text it, and you will see for yourself how much this daily motivation text actually delivers the way that I'm telling you that it will. Text me at that number right now, and every day when I send out that text, you will be on the list, and you will be receiving that text. And every day, here's an extra piece. I actually go through those texts and respond to them. So if you want to be able to text with me directly, that is the way to do it. And that is my number. It is listed down below in the show notes in case you weren't listening when I just said it. So text me at that number and we'll go from there. So let's get into the topic. How your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. I was doing a live stream on Instagram maybe a month or so ago, and I was talking about some principles of selling. I was particularly talking about the concept of selling yourself, it was especially targeted towards from our last Work on Your Game live event. People who I was talking to were entrepreneurs, intellectual property salespeople, thought leaders, experts, authors, speakers, coaches, those kind of people. And I was talking on this concept of selling yourself. And this is something that I talk about all the time. I did a whole chapter on selling yourself in chapter 8 of my book, Work on Your Game. And I've done several episodes of this very show about selling yourself. Episode 293, episode 2060, episode 1849, episode 947, episode 871, a bunch of episodes as I just listed, and you can listen to them all at workonyourgamepodcast.com, or just look at them because they are listed down below in the show notes. Now, when I was talking about this concept of selling yourself, there were some comments that came in that day that told me that this conversation we're having right now is very necessary. I need to talk about this concept of selling yourself not selling yourself, but money mindset. Because a lot of people have very poor money mindsets, and that way of thinking is the very reason why you, with a poor money mindset, is not able to acquire or keep the kind of money that you want to be making. So there are many people, especially entrepreneurs, who need to sell to survive. I mean, that's really what being an entrepreneur is about, especially when you're first starting out. Have some very poor money mindsets and very poor mentalities around the concepts of money and the concept of selling. So we're going to address all of that here today. Point number one. Topic once again is how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. Number one is the scarcity mentality. This is the biggest, the most pernicious, the most diabolical mindset, sub-mindset, we'll say, around money that keeps a lot of people from ever getting the things that they want in life, whether it's money or anything else. There's a scarcity mentality. Money, happiness, abundance, success, fame, if that's what you're after, attention, if that's what you're after, happiness, if that's what you're after, is the scarcity mindset is holding you back. It is blocking you from getting to where you want to go. This mindset shows itself when a person, for example, will hear someone say something that sounds like, I'll hear people say something like, and this is what I heard when I was doing this live stream, people will say stuff like, well, Dre, I don't want to sell too much of my stuff because I don't want to take too many people's money. Somebody actually said that. I said, I don't want to sell too many copies of my book or my course, or sell too many tickets to my event because I don't want to be taking too many people's money. Or I don't want to set my prices too high because I don't want to take too much money from people. I had someone in my mastermind say something along the lines of, because I was telling this person, hey, you need to raise your prices. They were telling their price. I said, your price is too low. You need to be setting it higher. And they said, well, I want to set a price that's fair. I want to set a price that's fair and reasonable for my potential clients, not just set a high price. No, just to set a high price. This was their words, not mine. These are all examples of the scarcity mindset. If you have ever said anything like what I just said, you have a scarcity mindset, and that mindset is part of the reason why you don't have the money that you want to have right now. And if you do have the money you want to have right now, you're going to lose it soon, because that mindset is not in conjunction with abundance. So let me say those things again so you can check yourself. If you say something like, I don't want to sell too much of my stuff, or ask for too much money because I feel like I'm taking people's money. If you're using that phrase, if you believe selling is taking people's money, you have a scarcity mindset. If you believe that setting your price higher is taking people's money, and you also believe you need to set your price lower than maybe what you could set it at because you believe it's fair. It's not about, if you believe your reason for setting a lower price is because the price now becomes fair, and it's fair to set a lower price, that is a scarcity mentality. You have a mindset that tells you there is very little money available to you, so you have to set your price low so that you can at least get some of it instead of getting none of it. That is a scarcity mindset, and most people who think like this are broke. Now I'm pausing there to let that one sink in, because I know there are some people listening to me right now who know that I'm talking about them. I want you to understand something about money. The United States government prints new money every day. This is a fact. They put new money into circulation all the time. If we ever run out of money, quote unquote run out, there's no such thing, but if we ever were to be close to running out, you know what the government would do? They push a button and they print more of it. Money is not a scarce resource. Money does not exist in scarcities. I talked about abundance thinking back in episode 113 of this show. Money is not backed by gold anymore. It's not backed by the gold standard. When for every dollar we needed a certain amount of gold. That's how it used to be. It's not backed by that anymore. Money is only backed by one thing. The people's, that's me and you, our trust in the federal banking system. That's it. That's the only thing money is backed by. Which means as long as we trust it, they can keep printing it, and it doesn't matter how much or how little they make. They can create as much of it as they want. There is no scarcity of money on the planet. Money is simply a green piece of paper, or numbers on a spreadsheet for most of us these days. Most of us don't even carry cash. You are making a certain amount of money from whatever, from sales, from a client, from whatever you do, does not mean that there is less available money for everybody else. This is the scarcity mindset that many people who are not making money have. That if I make $100, then I change my price to $200. That means there's $100 less for anybody else in the world to either make, or $100 less that my client or customer now has available to them because I raised my price. So if I was charging my client $100, then I start charging them $200. That means now they got $100 less, and that's going to hurt them, and that's not fair for me to do. That mindset is the very reason why you are failing to make sales. Now, I want you to understand that this scarcity mindset is not completely your fault, because it was probably taught to you by some other broke mindset people, usually the people who raised you, so probably your parents or the adults who are around you growing up. They're the ones who taught this to you. So it's not 100% your fault, but it is 100% your responsibility, because now you're an adult and you're responsible for everything that's going on in your mind, even if it wasn't put there by you. It was probably handed down to you, but we're going to get to that in a minute. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. Number 2, the not deserving mentality. This is another part of a poor money mindset. This is the person who says, well, look, Dre, I get what you're saying. Other people can double their prices, but who am I to double my prices? I've had entrepreneurs say this to me. These are entrepreneurs who I know were good enough to be charging more than what they were charging. Entrepreneurs who I said to them, hey, you need to be charging higher prices. Entrepreneurs who I said to them, hey, how much are you charging now? And they gave me a number, X. And I said, you need to be charging 2X or 3X or 10X. I've said this to entrepreneurs. You need to raise your price. And you would think an entrepreneur would jump at this opportunity, or this idea at least, because just because me saying raise your price doesn't mean the money comes in. But you would think many entrepreneurs would jump at this idea, because it means, okay, now I can make more money. I don't even need to make as many sales. I'm going to have a higher level client because it's a person who is spending more money. They will bring less headaches. I know all of these things to be true. And these are people who are working with me. So I'm telling them these things as I'm telling them why to raise their prices. And they push back with some form of, yes, I know it's possible, Dre, but who am I to do it? I am not worthy of raising my price. I get that prices can be raised, but why should I, and they can fill in the blank with their name, why should I raise my price? This mindset around money, and a very poor one at that, is one of your own self-worth, and it's a reflection of your poor self-image, of a poor self-image. You don't believe that you are worthy of money. So that's where you get this poor you have this poor self-worth, which reflects itself in what you say about money, and a poor money mindset, which reflects itself in your self-worth. So it's like this circular situation. They serve each other. You do not believe you're worthy of earning a certain amount of money. So when someone even gives you a suggestion that, hey, here's something you can do to make more money, you reject it because you don't want to make more money. Subconsciously, you don't want to be there. Now, let me tell you a very humbling truth. Whatever amount you believe you are worth, on the micro or the macro, micro meaning whatever amount you think your product or service is worth, like an individual thing that you sell, or on the macro, whatever amount you think you are worth, like how much money you'll make in a year. Whatever amount you think you are worth is about what you're going to earn for the rest of your life. Let's let that one sink into. If you think you are a $15 an hour person, then you're going to be selling your services for somewhere around $15 an hour. You think it's 50, you're going to sell for 50. You think it's 1,000, you're going to sell for 1,000. I've known people who've done all three. If you believe you are a $50,000 a year individual, guess what you're going to earn every year? How much did you earn last year? What are you on track to earn this year? You believe you're worth $1 million a year? You can fill in the blank. How much did you earn last year? How much you gonna earn this year? Whatever you believe you are worth, that's the direction that you're going, and it's about where you're going to settle, and it's where you're going to stay until or unless you do something to enact the law of inertia, which is what? An object in motion tends to remain in motion, or an object that is not in motion tends to remain not in motion until or unless acted upon by an outside force. The outside force must be you. Inertia, when it's in movement, we call it momentum. Inertia, when it's doing nothing, we call it stagnation. Y'all heard of those words before, right? Okay. You want to get out of stagnation when it comes to your business, when it comes to your finances, when it comes to your sales. You got to look at your money mindset. Not looking at, see, a lot of people look at the surface level stuff. They look at the symptoms of an issue instead of looking at the root causes of an issue. The root cause is the mindset. That's the foundation of everything, is mindset. That's why on this show, we open every single day. Discipline, confidence, mental toughness, personal initiative. What are those? Those are intangibles. Those are ways of thinking. The mindset comes first. Then we get a strategy. Then we make sure everything and everyone's being held accountable. Then we execute. In that order. Many people want to go straight to the execution, but they don't have the right mindset. So then you execute, and you do all this hard work, and then you don't get the result. Then you say, well, that thing doesn't work, or that thing didn't work for me. No, it does work. It's just you did the wrong order of operations. Inaccurate formulas, folks. So if you don't believe you're worth earning a certain amount of money, then you're not going to make it. And this is the humbling truth, that you need to accept emotionally, not just logically. I know everything that I say here on the show logically makes sense, but until you emotionally accept it, you're not going to do anything with it. The good news is, I gave you the bad news, here's the good news. You can change what you believe you're worth anytime you feel like it. What you believe your value is can change at the snap of a finger. How? You just decide to do it. Yes, it's that simple. The challenge is, after you make that decision, you must maintain that belief of what you are worth for long enough for it to actually produce the results that you desire. In other words, you have to hold yourself in the frame of mind that you are worth a certain amount that you have never made before until you make that certain amount. You have to hold yourself there mentally, and there are actions that you can take to stay there and ways that you can talk to yourself to maintain it so that you don't just fall right out of it so easily, which is what most people do because they don't have the right strategies. Notice how these same principles keep coming up over and over again. Everything here, there's a strategy and a system to everything that we do here, and it can help you if you're willing to do the work and apply it. And I'll show you exactly what to do. You can change your mindset anytime you want, but you must maintain that belief strong enough and long enough to get there. Do you believe that you are worthy of earning twice as much as you're earning right now? That's a question. Let me say it again. I want people to text me. Those of you who haven't texted me yet, and those of you who already have texted me, I want you to text me and answer this question here today. Do you believe you are worthy of earning twice as much as you are earning right now? Do you believe that you are worthy of it? I'm not saying do you think it's possible. Yes, we all know it's possible because there are people out there making it. There are people out there making 10 times what you make right now. But do you believe that you personally are worthy, keyword, worthy of earning twice as much as what you are earning right now? How about 5 times as much? How about 10 times? How much makes you nervous? How much more would you need to be making than what you're making right now that you would feel nervous about having it? Twice as much, 3 times, 10, 100? How much more of what you're making now would you need to be making to feel nervous about the fact that you were making it? Where would you start to become uncomfortable? Because whatever that is, wherever you see a limit for yourself, that will become when you look in the mirror, you see that limit in the mirror, that will become a real limit in your real life. Often it already is a real limit in your real life. You just might not have seen it yet. But what I'm saying here today might help you understand it. But I want everybody to text me and tell me, do you believe you are worthy of earning twice as much? And I'm going to ask you some questions in exchange, by the way, just so you know. Any of you who's texted me before, you know. You tell me something, I'm going to dig into it. I'm not just going to take what you tell me on the surface, because usually it's a lot deeper than that. So what do you think you're worthy of? What do you think you're capable of? What do you think your real value is? Because I guarantee you that's where you're headed. So whether you answer these questions or not, that's where you're going either way. So 5 years from now, we'll know the answer to this question whether you answer it or not, because that's where your life's going to be. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. Number 3, here's another poor money mindset that is ingrained in many of us in Western society, is the thought that you must work hard for money. Now, let's be clear. I'm the work on your game guy. Do I believe in hard work? Yes, I do. Do I espouse the concept of hard work? Yes, I do. Do I think you need to work hard? Yes, I do. So while it is true that people who earn a lot, usually they work pretty damn hard, often harder than people who don't. It is also true that people who don't earn money also work hard. Is that true? Any of you who earns whatever you consider to be a lot of money, I want the people who are listening to this right now, if you earn more money than most of the people around you, in other words, you earn more than most of the people in your family, like your extended family, you earn more than most of your friends that you grew up with, you might even earn more money than some of your friends now. Usually that's not the case. Usually we earn around similar amounts to the people that we hang out with. But let's say the people you grew up with that maybe you don't talk to as much anymore, or your family members who you might not even be that close with, but you know they exist. Those of you who earn more than most of the people that you either grew up with or are in your family, I want to ask you this question. Are there people who you earn considerably more money than, who work just as hard, if not harder, than you do? The answer is of course. So let's say you earn twice as much as anybody else in your family. Do you work twice as hard as everybody in your family? Probably not. It's probably physically impossible for you to work twice as hard as everybody else in your family. There's not enough hours in a day for you to work twice as many hours as everybody else, even though you earn twice as much money. So I'm saying all that to say this, just by deductive reasoning, working harder is not necessarily the key to earning more money. Now, hard work can help you earn more money if applied in the right way. But hard work on its own is not a formula for more money. I've talked about this already many times, especially in the episode on inaccurate formulas. Any of you who has not heard that episode, that is episode number 2163, the 4 worst inaccurate formulas that you have been taught and that you've been living out. Working hard is not the differentiating factor between earning money and not earning money. having it and not having it. Did everybody hear that? Working hard is not the differentiating factor between making money and not making money, having money and not having money. It can be in elements, meaning there's somebody who makes a lot of money and somebody who makes a little bit of money, and a person who makes a lot works harder than a person who makes a little bit. Yes, that can be true, but that doesn't mean that's the whole story. And this is the part that a lot of people don't get. They only focus on the part that they understand, but they don't know what they don't know. There's a lot more to the game than maybe what you think the game is. That's why I'm the Work on Your Game guy. I'm here to help you clarify it for you. So if you have been operating by the inaccurate formula that you need to work harder to make more money, we got to address that immediately. And I know there are people doing this because I get the text messages. What's your challenge? Well, I want to earn more money. All right, what's your process for doing that? Well, I'm just going to work harder and put in more time. Wrong answer. That's not going to work. And I guarantee, I know that you texting me ain't the first time you thought that was the solution to your problem. So I know you tried that before, and I know that you know that don't work. So cut the bullshit. Work harder. I'm gonna just work harder. That's gonna solve all my problems. All right. How many of you have ever solved all your problems by working harder? Yes, the same number you speaking right now. Nobody. Yes, keep working hard. Working hard is a good thing. Human beings were made to work. But what you need is a better strategy for that hard work that produces a higher rate of return on the exact same amount of work. That's what you need to do. You need to produce more ROI from the same amount of effort, not more effort and hope that it leads to more ROI. Everybody get that? The key to doing that, here's the bridge to doing that, we call it strategy. Challenge is, many of you are trying to come up with a strategy by yourself. You're not good at it, so you keep doing more hard work and time goes by. You don't get the outcome that you want and you're wondering why. The reason why is because you have a person who is unqualified teaching you strategy. That unqualified person is you. Many of you have an unqualified person at the helm when it comes to strategizing for your life and your business, and the unqualified person is you. You are unqualified to be your own strategist because you don't know how to put together a strategy. And it's fine if you don't know how to put together a strategy. What's not fine is when you realize that you're unqualified, yet you don't fire yourself. That's the part that's unsatisfactory. That's the part that's unacceptable. And many of you continue to employ yourself in every role in your career and business. You're not good at many of those roles. So you have amateurs working in certain roles in your business, and that's exactly where your business is failing, yet you refuse to fire yourself. This is why you're in the situation that you're in. And Nico, we're leaving this pause in here because I just want people to think about what I just said. I'm not done. The pause is not over. I already told you in episode number 2163 that more effort leading to more results is an inaccurate formula that many people have lived through their entire lives because your parents told you that, your teachers told you that, your bosses and coaches told you that. I get it, but now you know better. The owner of a large enterprise, someone who owns some big company, they don't work 50 times harder than the maintenance man who's cleaning the toilet, right? But they make 50 times more money. So why is this? Because the owner is using certain strategies to make money, and the maintenance man is using certain strategies to make money. Can we agree that they're using two different strategies? Yes? All right, that's why they're getting different outcomes. Point number 4. Today's topic is how your poor money mindset is keeping you broke. Here's one of the things that all of you can understand is that you are listening to, associating with, and being affected by the energies of, guess who? Broke people. You are associating with broke people. All right. This is why you're in the situation that you're in. I talked about the law of association, episode 1880. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it now. You become the average of the people you spend the most time with. All of you can repeat that. Everybody can repeat that saying. Yeah, people go say that. I'm on Instagram doing a live, and I mention the law of association. Somebody goes and writes, yeah, you become the average of the people you spend the most time with. Then they get off my live, and you know what they go do? They get off the live, then they go outside and start hanging with a bunch of their broke friends, even though they know the law of association. And then they get off my live, then they go into the comments on somebody's Instagram post who's talking about this celebrity, who's arguing with this celebrity, and then they're getting in the comment section and leaving comments about a person who never knows you, doesn't even know you exist, and going back and forth with a bunch of people who ain't got nothing going on, but you talking about the law of association. You become the average of people you spend the most time with. Makes no sense. Many people can repeat a lot of these platitudes and cliches, yet they're living the exact opposite of what the platitudes actually say. Many of you understand the concept of the law of association, yet all your friends are broke. Let's let that one sink in too. Many of you understand the concept of the law of association. The people in your family members are broke, and you're taking money advice from them. Let's let that one sink in too. We got a lot of things that got to sink in today. I'm going to drink a lot of water while I'm letting these pauses just sit. This is the point that I told you we'd be coming back to from point number one. When I told you that, it was your people who raised you, who got you into these money mindsets, these poor money mindsets. Listening to broke people. Many of us got our mindsets, our money mindsets from our parents or whoever raised you. And if your parents were not well versed in financial intelligence, and I know many of our parents were not well versed in financial intelligence on a logical level or an emotional level, they took their poor money mindsets that they already had and they gave them to you. They took their emotions about money, their inaccurate formulas about money, and they passed it down to you. That's what they did. Not because they were trying to sabotage you, but because they can only tell you what they know. So as an adult, it is your job to identify maybe where you got some inaccurate formulas and make the necessary adjustments. Did the adults that raised you, here's the question that you should ask yourself. The adults who raised you, did they have accurate formulas around money, logically or emotionally? Because if they did, they would have taught them to you. And they would have explained the soundness of their ideas. So if this never happened to you, then the answer is no, they did not. Let me give you a question again, just in case any of you need to ask yourself. And it shouldn't take you long to answer this question. If you got to think about it, the answer is no. Here's the question again. The adults who raised you, did they have accurate formulas around the concept of money, logically and emotionally? If you had to think about it, the answer is no, they did not. Because if they did, they would have emphasized teaching it to you. Those of you adults right now who have children, if you have accurate logical formulas around the concept of money, logically and emotionally, you make a point of making sure your kids understand it. Doesn't matter what they do for a living. They understand that. They can at least take care of themselves, right? Doesn't matter what they do for a living. But if they understand the concepts of money, they can be a maintenance man, they can be a rapper, a TikToker. They can figure it out because you gave them some accurate formulas and mindsets. Many of us were raised by people who knew absolutely nothing about finances. I mean, they knew how to add, subtract, multiply, divide, but they didn't have any concepts of how these things work. They couldn't have told you any of the things that I'm telling you here today. That's all right though. They weren't trying to make you lose. They just told you what they knew. And unfortunately, there were some things that they didn't know. They were unqualified to teach you, but that's why you're here today. There's a reason why you're listening to this. Point number 5. And so that's the law of association, by the way. All right. Some of you, before I move on to point number 5, let me give you a little bit more on point number 4. Some of you need to look at your associations. And honestly, with everything I'm talking about here today, I got 5 points. Many of you could make all the changes that you need by changing just one of these. It's your job to figure out which one. Some of you need to change more than one. So don't take a shortcut. Some of you only need to make one change. Some of you just need to stop hanging with people who are broke. Some of you need to stop referencing your family members when you need to make a business decision about money and you're talking to a bunch of people who ain't got none. What are they going to tell you about money? They don't have any. They don't know anything. Stop asking people who don't have information for information. If you're in a town that you've never been to before, you don't ask a tourist how to get somewhere. They don't know. You got to ask a local. And it's your job to find the locals. Anyway, let's move on to point number 5. Listen to episode 1880 for the law of association. Number 5, we're talking the poor money mindsets that are keeping you broke. Limiting yourself as you see having more is a bad thing. This is the scarcity mindset. You think having more money, we're talking about money here today. You think having more money or charging more money or having more clients or having more customers is somehow a bad thing because it means you're taking money or you're going to have so much that maybe you're not worthy of or you don't want to be responsible for this much. Whatever religion you're a part of, any of you who claims a religion, every religion out there, as far as what I know, and I'm no expert on any particular religion, but as far as I know, and if I got this wrong, text me and you can tell me that your religion doesn't say this. But as far as I know, every religion espouses the concept of prosperity. Is there anyone here who is a member of any religion that is against the concept of prosperity? Whether you are Muslim, 5%er, Jewish, Catholic, Christian, whatever the other ones are. I don't know of any religion that is against prosperity, that doesn't say you should prosper. Is there any religion that says don't prosper, that prospering is a bad thing? You are told through your religious text, those of you who are religious, that you are supposed to go out and prosper and multiply. You are told that by your religion. I don't think there's any religion that disagrees with that point. So part of prosperity means having the resources to prosper and having the resources to take care of the multiplication, meaning your family and future generations. As I said earlier, there is no shortage of money on the planet. Somebody paying you money does not mean there's less money to go around the world, because again, the government prints money every day. They print more than you can spend. The amount of money the government prints every day is more than you're capable of spending in a day. You cannot give what you don't have. So if you would like to do good for others and you like to help others and do things that can impact the world and have impact on other people, you have to have resources to do it. Again, episode 609, 5 forms of investment: time, money, attention, energy, focus, which means it is your moral obligation to prosper as best you can in an ethical way so that you can help other people. And when you're helping other people, guess what you get for helping other people? You get to prosper in exchange. This is the way the world works. All right, this is the law of reciprocity. What you give, you get back. Some of you call it the law of karma. You can call it the law of the universe. You call it the law of whatever religion you're in. They all say the same thing. Now, I'm not going to get into a religious discussion here, but the main difference between different religions is just where the story came from, but they all are telling a lot of the same principles. The principles are pretty much the same. Again, any of you who studies religions, you can tell me if I got that wrong. The principles between religions are pretty much the same. And these principles, the ones I'm talking about here today, these are universal. Multiply, that means make more of you. Prosper, it means do well, get more, have resources. And when you help others, you will get help back. Is there any religion that does not say that explicitly? Is there any religion that goes against those 3 points? If there is, I will offer a retraction here on this show. Somebody text me and let me know. All that being said, let's recap today's class, which is the poor money mindset that is keeping you broke. I was doing a live stream and some people were saying some things, and these are people who I know to be entrepreneurs who their whole business is based on their ability to sell and acquire money. They have poor money mindsets. I said, okay, your business is never going to go anywhere with that mindset. So this episode is very, very much needed. Point number 1, scarcity mentality. This is when people say something like, I don't want to sell too much, or I don't want to raise my prices, I don't want to be taking money from other people. Understand that the government prints money every single day. If they run out, they'll just make more. Now, you making money is not limiting anybody else's ability to make money. Your dollar does not mean there's one less dollar ever. There are more dollars being printed than you can possibly spend. There's no scarcity of money on the planet. Point number 2, you feel like you're not deserving. Other people can make money, but who are you to make money? This mindset around money is about your lack of self-worth and your very poor, negative self-image. You don't believe that you are worthy of earning a certain amount of money, and here's the humbling truth. Whatever you believe you're worth, that's pretty much where you're at right now, and that's where you're going to stay until or unless you do something to shake up that inertia. Again, inertia in action is called momentum. Inertia in doing nothing is called stagnation. You're familiar with both of those terms. Do you believe you're worthy of earning twice as much as you make right now? What about 5 times? What about 10 times? How much makes you nervous? How much more would you need to be making to feel nervous about yourself and not feel like you're worthy? Whatever that limit is in your mind will become a real limit in your real life, and probably already is. And point number 3, thinking that you must work hard for money. This is one of the worst inaccurate formulas out there, that hard work necessarily equals success. No, it does not. Hard work often coincides with success, but is not the reason for someone's success. There are hardworking people who are broke. There are hardworking people who are rich. So how do you make the difference? The difference is the strategies that each person is implementing. It is not the work itself. So any of you who have been taught that outworking everybody is the key to success is not true. There are maintenance men who clean toilets for a living who are barely able to pay their bills, and they work harder than you. So that is not the key to success. And I told you in episode number 2163, more effort leading to more results is one of the worst inaccurate formulas out there in the world. Stop following this formula. Some broke people who you know told you this. Don't listen to them anymore. All right, tell them I said it. Point number 4. Listening to broke people. This is the law of association that I talked about in episode 1880. If your parents were not well versed in financial intelligence, logically or emotionally, they handed you down a bunch of ideas, emotion, and inaccurate formulas that were not right, that are not serving you. It wasn't serving them and is not serving you now. But the difference is you have access to information that they didn't have access to, because I wasn't around to teach your parents, but I am around to teach you. So as an adult, it is your job to identify where you have been taught inaccurate formulas and make the necessary adjustments. Do not keep living with the excuse of what somebody else did or did not do. If your parents didn't give you accurate formulas and ideas around money, logically or emotionally, if you can't immediately say yes, then they probably did not. So it's time for you to get that information. Now you can do something about it and change the trajectory of what's going on in your ancestry. And point number 5, limiting yourself because you see having more as a bad thing. Whatever religion you're a part of, every religion says multiply, prosper, do well, and you will get well back. Is there any religion, again, I'm asking this question, I want to make sure I'm being clear, anyone who is a practicer of any religion that does not agree with those 3 things, that your religion doesn't say that? Do well, multiply, prosper. Every religion says that. So there's no shortage of money on the planet. When someone pays you money, doesn't mean there's less money to go around. You can't give what you don't have. If you want to do good for others, you must have resources to do so. You can't give what you do not have. So it is your moral obligation to, in an ethical way, collect as much as you can so that you can help other people and you can do good for them. Be important so you can be nice. We talked about that in the past. When you're helping others, you prosper in exchange. It's the law of the universe. It's not about deserving necessarily. It's the way it works. When you give, you get. There's the law of karma. You cannot stop it even if you wanted to. All that being said, 2 things for you to do. Number 1, text me, get my daily motivation every day. My number is 305-384-6894. Number 2, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com so you can get into my group coaching or my one-on-one coaching programs. If you are ready to take yourself to the next level, get your mind in the right place like we talk about here on the show all the time, get the strategies that you can actually implement, make sure that your strategies and you are being held accountable to actually producing results and performing, and that you execute so that we are actually getting those results and you get the rewards, and then we can repeat, rinse, repeat, and rinse. Wash, rinse, and repeat and get the same results over and over and over again. Duplicatable, same thing, same way every time. You need to go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and stop playing around with your life. Work on your game. Dre all day.